Okay, we're back with another tier list finally. Last season, we were kind of doing this just for isekai and power fantasy shows, but there were way more last season, right? Like here, these are all the shows that I've watched at least a bit of for spring, and there's 18 here. But last season, there was like that many of just isekai in the power fantasy slop, so we'll just do this for like everything. And like I said, these are shows that we have watched. Obviously, it doesn't make sense for me to give input on something that I didn't. There are going to be some things that we will consider picking up. Yeah, if you don't see your show here, well, that's why. Also, this is obviously just going to be, based on my opinion, how much I enjoy it, right? Some things might be technically better written than others, but if I don't enjoy it, well, that's too bad. I'm just gonna rate it lowly. But I will like try to take that type of stuff into account, right? And you know, the whole idea is just like, just because something's more complex doesn't necessarily make it better, right? One way to think about it is like, what is the show trying to accomplish? And you know, if it's aware it's trying to be simple, but it does that very well, it might actually be way more enjoyable than something that's tries to be really complex but just doesn't really execute on anything greatly, right? So I guess we can talk about like the tiers here. Kind of got 4 main ones here: S, A, B, C. I used to like have actual words here, but the thing is, I don't want to like pigeonhole myself into every time I use those words. I feel like I need to like put those shows specifically in that tier. Like specifically, I used to have the bottom one was called like good enough, but I don't know, like sometimes that could be applied to something that was like a tier above, but you need more context, right? So we're just gonna kind of be like, S is like the most enjoyable, right? And usually what this would be is like something like if I was not doing reactions to, I would just move straight to the source material because you know most of the time that's better. And then basically you just go a step down until C here, where just because something's here doesn't mean it's bad. If something's bad, then you know, unless for some reason a bad show is like performing really well on the channel, then I just drop it anyways. But for a channel of my size, it's not like there's anything to be considered about. So just if I think something's here and we're still watching it, to me it's still enjoyable, right? C.5 we can change this actually to well, we'll just add it here. We'll talk about this later. And then D is dropped. And then C, or not C, this considering section, I'll add some shows here that we can talk about later for shows to pick up. But I guess we can get the dropped shows out of the way. Oh yeah, actually also, I'm recording this Wednesday morning. This is going to be like, I guess, a mid-season tier list. The problem is a lot of shows are kind of like on episode 7 already. And I was actually going to do this last week when most things were on episode 6. I'll try to mostly just take into account episodes 1 to 6, but like, for example, Go-Go Loser Ranger was, episode 6 was this week, I think, right? But yeah, I don't know. Depending when you're watching this, just keep in mind that I think today some stuff are going to be on episode 8. At maximum, this will include opinions up to episode 7. And I guess the only exception is, like, Devouring Whale, which is only on episode 4. We're just including because we're watching it, and technically it is, like, airing right now. But I think, like, this started at the end of April, so it's kind of, like, not synced like that. And on top of that, it's Chinese, right? So it just has a different schedule. Okay, yeah, let's talk about the drop shows first. So we got Your Former here. Honestly, the show itself, there wasn't anything really wrong with it. One is, it's just not really my type of genre, right? It's like sci-fi mystery police, which could be enjoyable. Actually, if you think about it, there's one like anime original, it was like a couple years ago, maybe longer now. It's called Akudama Drive. It does basically the same thing. It's like sci-fi crime mystery, right? Like, and that one I really enjoyed. I think that's like might actually be one of my favorite anime originals. But I don't know, this one was a lot slower paced. Like, if I had to just kind of just base on episode 1 and 2 that we watched here, there are reactions. Oh yeah, by the way, there are reactions to basically all of these shows. So if you want like, I guess, more complex discussion analysis, then you can check out those. There's playlists for everything here. But based on like the only 2 episodes we watched, I put this here mainly because like the characters themselves weren't really that interesting to me. But the key point is, one, at least during the week that we were watching these, this wasn't really getting that many views. And on top of that, like I said, it's kind of just not my type of story. But and the third thing too is, honestly, at that point, it's kind of, I just kind of have to make a decision. Was it really worth my time? I feel like I picked up too many shows between winter to spring, and I couldn't really handle it. Like, honestly, now I probably could. But just for reference, kind of the whole process to get an episode up on YouTube kind of takes at least 90 minutes, maybe longer, maybe 2 hours for some reason. I have to edit it more. But also on top of that, even longer possibly if the show itself has more copyright issues, right? The way uploading onto YouTube works is this kind of automatic filter that will kind of just go through the video and detect stuff. And then on top of that, it could get like copyright claimed afterwards. So it's not every show can like get through the filter as easy, right? So things might even take longer. than 2 hours. But yeah, to me, it just really wasn't worth the time. And then the other show is kind of, honestly, kind of similar. It's Lazarus, right? I guess in some ways it's the same genre, sci-fi mystery. This was dropped. Actually, I was not planning on dropping this, actually. It's just I guess this has like a fourth reason, which is there's just too many shows on the weekend. This comes out like Saturday also, right? I think like even Saturday night. We got like 5 shows on Saturday. And on top of that, like I was doing like Madoka also daily. Like if this was like a Monday or Tuesday show, I'd probably still be watching it. But yeah, basically for the exact same reasons as Your Forma, I just decided to kind of postpone it, I guess. It's not like I can bump this. Well, actually, in theory, you could, right? Like maybe I could just watch this on Tuesdays instead. I don't know. Kind of at this point, I just don't think it was because this also wasn't really getting views. But I think like if you go back and look at it now, I think over the month that the episodes have been out, I think some of them have accrued some. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if like nearing the season finales, like people are actually like hyping this up. Then maybe this could be resurrected. Okay, I guess we can move on to the stuff that we are watching. Let's make this bigger. Okay, so I'm pretty sure these are sorted by date, right? Okay, so we're doing this on a Wednesday. So we'll start with the Wednesday shows. We got Two Perfect Saint, TBATE, and then the Thursday shows. This technically releases Thursday, but I think because like it's kind of like lesser known. I can only find like the subtitles like on like Saturday. So I kind of just watch this whenever, but I'm pretty sure this releases on Thursdays. And then, so we got Devouring Whale, Yami Healer, Friday shows, Danjoru, and the Saturday shows, which is a big-ass lineup. Slime 300, A-Rank Party, Country Bumpkin, Swordsmaster, Evil Lord, and then To Be Hero X is also, yeah, it comes out like Saturday now, right? And then we got 4 Sunday shows, Witch Watch, Atelier, Meister, Gorilla God's Go-To Girl, Google Loser Ranger Season 2, and then Monday shows, Summer Pockets, and then Tuesday, Shiunji Family. And I'll add in the shows that we're considering later on. Okay, we'll start with Two Perfect Saint, Kanpekiseijo. I'm gonna put this... Honestly, we just started. We're off to kind of awkward start already. I'm gonna put this A. This is probably gonna end up being low A. This show has been like a pretty good surprise, like a pleasant surprise this season. It kind of is like Power Fantasy, right? It's a bit, that like I got banished from my whatever. In this case, she got banished from her city. It's that type of Power Fantasy. If anything, it's more like an appreciation fantasy. I guess the difference with this is that it's a female lead. And actually, maybe you could consider that there's actually 2, right? Because if you want to count Mia, in this case, we kind of have like 2 different stories, right? We have kind of the appreciation side from Philia's plot, and then Mia's is kind of darker, which, I don't know, to me at least is actually more interesting. It's kind of like the revenge story. Because whatever's going on Philia's side, like, I don't know, it's all like happy, bubbly. I don't know, maybe that'll change in the future, but yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of more interested in like whatever Mia's doing. The side characters are decent. I like Lena. She's like really bubbly, and her interactions with Philia are fun. The plot is the plot's pretty decent too, right? Like I said, we have one revenge story with Mia and Gritonia. There's also some other stuff in the background though that I guess really hasn't surfaced yet. I don't know, we'll see today. Like I said, we're entering episode 8 later. There's like some humans versus demons. And then on top of that, like I actually do like romance. There's some romance cooking in the background. And on top of that, we kind of talked about like, okay, here. Okay, well, let's make like some shitty graph here. So think of like the x-axis as episode number, right? So we'll go like 1 to 12. And then this is like rating from 0 to 10 on a scale of 0 to 10, right? Most shows are probably gonna do something like this, right? I don't know, maybe the tail end ideally goes a bit higher. Sometimes it's more like this, but I don't know. Kanpekiseijo, it's kind of just been like this, kind of. No, I don't really feel a drop off in it. And there's this kind of like interesting idea is like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like, do you want this drop off to kind of like give some like illusion that the finale, the climax actually feels better, right? Because if you had something like this, which I don't even know if that's even possible, is that a good thing? Maybe, right? But I don't know. I think it's just something interesting to talk about. But yeah, I'm enjoying the show. Like I said, I think I wasn't expecting to enjoy this as much as I did, because usually when you have kind of this lineup, well, like this lineup of characters, I don't know, just kind of ends up being forgettable. But I don't know. I think that, yeah, this has kind of been good compared to other shows that are similar. Okay, next is TBATE. Oh my god, dude. Okay, this, we're gonna put this in C. We are still debating, but not the master variety. Okay, maybe that too, right? Okay, honestly, this has the lowest views out of everything, right? Okay, honestly, even maybe out of these, right? If we consider this, like realistically, this should be here. But this, it's kind of like my own personal bias, right? I'm willing to make an exception for this because, like I said, we watch a lot of isekai power fantasy slop. And, you know, in theory, this should not be. This should be of the higher quality variety. But so far, there's, it's whatever. Okay, I don't know. The story so far has been decent, right? But honestly, the bad pacing has kind of hurt it. Like, I don't think slow pacing is a bad thing. But like I said, okay, we watch a lot of these types of shows. But when you have bad pacing and, like, honestly, shitbox production, because let's be honest, maybe this isn't like the worst thing that, like, of all time, you know? But I don't know, out of all these shows, I don't know, this actually might be the lowest, right? The worst production. Like, sure, if you really dig into the depths of anime, there's gonna be stuff that's, like, worse than this, right? But at least out of the stuff that we're watching, this actually might be the worst. And then when you have, like, bad production and slow pacing, right? I don't know, the way I kind of bring up during the reactions is like, okay, think of the saying, two things together is better than the sum of its parts, right? Now think like the opposite of that. Two things are worse than the difference. I don't know if that makes sense, right? Like, you have two negative things, it just makes it even worse. And here's the thing, like, we are on maximum copium for the show, right? All the TBATE stands, they'll kind of say like, oh, the first two arcs are kind of the weaker of the story. But like, it's not really relevant to what I'm saying, but the thing is, it doesn't really matter if people, like, can't even get there, right? It's kind of like the whole One Piece thing. It's like, oh, One Piece gets good, like, 500 episodes in. It's like, the fuck? You want people to, like, watch 500 episodes just to wait for it to get good? Like, realistically, no. Which, by the way, I don't know. I actually have not watched One Piece. Do we really want to do, like, 1,000 episode reaction series? Maybe. I'll make a video on that, like, later on, but I'm planning something around that. So, yeah, back to, like, the pacing thing, right? And, I mean, they're willing to say that stuff gets better. But so far, there hasn't been really hooks. Like, honestly, if this was not just for my own personal bias, the only thing here that would probably keep is, like, the actual hardcore TBATE fans, like, hyping the shit up and coping, right? And, like, here's this is supposedly heavily inspired by Mushoku Tensei, right? I actually really like Mushoku Tensei. I read all the main series light novels. Apparently, there's some, like, other stuff that kind of goes into some of the side stuff, but I haven't really watched. So I probably won't do Mushoku Tensei reactions on here. And honestly, like, I haven't really gotten bored of the copy and paste nature of isekai. So, like, just in theory, right? Cookie cutters is actually a good thing to me, but, like, if this was, like, actually just a copy and paste of Mushoku Tensei, as long as there's, like, kind of enough changes that I'm just like, okay, this is literally 100% the same. Like, okay, change up a bit of stuff so it's not, like, entirely predictable. Make it calculatable. Calculatable is fine. So as long as there's enough minor changes, it's good. But the thing is, people are saying that at some point it's going to heavily diverge, right? So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I'm kind of, like I said, we're on, like, world record levels of copium. Like, I want this to be so good. I want this to be good so bad, because it's not even just about the story, right? I think that there's a lot of good stories out there from outside of the Japanese market. Like, I think the Japanese isekai market is, like, like I said, I'm not, like, tired of the copy and paste nature, but I do think that like, we could do better. Like, that's one thing. Like, just because I think that things are okay does not mean that I want things to be better. And I think the Korean and Chinese market has a lot of really good stuff. And I know this is, like, kind of American, right? Like, the guy that made it is Korean, but he's basically American, and he wrote it in English, right? So if this does well, then there's more, or, like, people might think, okay, let's look more at this market and then adapt more things. And then I don't know, we're kind of on, like, some super copium here, where if you think of, like, Blue Lock season 2, this Blue Lock season 2 might actually have had worse production overall than this, but apparently the ending of Blue Lock season 2 was actually decently animated. That you know, we won't entirely forget what happened to it, but at least we'll have a better memory of it because of, like, recency bias, right? So I'm kind of hoping that we get a similar case with this. And honestly, episode 7 or last week's episode was actually, like, noticeably better, significantly noticeably better. Like, episodes like 4, 5, 6, I don't know, maybe I was just, like, coping. I was like, it feels like it's getting better, but no, last episode actually was better. And we'll see, hopefully the episode today builds up on that. And honestly, like, in terms of the story, I actually feel like this next arc is going to be a lot better, just based on the cliffhanger that we were left on. But yeah, for now, I don't know. I can't justify putting this any higher. Okay, next is, okay, we'll do Yami Healer first. Because I guess just in terms of timeline, that's what I'll be watching first. I'm gonna put this A. I don't know. I feel like there could be a timeline where I put this in S, but we'll put this high A for now. Honestly, the comedy of this show is like super underrated. I don't know. Like the main character Zenos, his like Giga Chad stoic behavior, it's so funny. Like, because he always brings up charging people after some shit goes down, right? And like he'll basically like force heal people. And then he's like, okay, you know, I healed you. Make sure you pay me later. I don't know. It just ends up being really funny. And then in terms of like what the story's about, it kind of feels like it's a two-for-one, right? Like we kind of talked about like the banished plot aspect, right? Like there's kind of like this in here too in Two Perfect Saints. So there's like the banished from my party, which is what happened to him. But there's also like, I don't know what to call it, like ignorance fantasy, where like someone's OP but they don't know. Right? Because I don't know, just wherever they were raised, like to them maybe they're like average, but to the rest of the world, like they're super OP. I mean, I guess like the banished plot is like kind of over, but I don't know, it was like still fun. and that's another thing too, right? Like when you have a lot of these gimmicks, it usually applies to the banished one stuff. Is like they'll get revenge, not necessarily revenge, but kind of like show the world what they're about, and then it's like, okay, what do we do after that, right? I guess the fact that we have more stuff going on in the background kind of helps carry it afterwards. The characters are all fun. The only downside is that like kind of three of them, like Linga, Lev, and Zofia, they're all kind of like lumped in together as like one unit. So most of the time, it feels like they're not really individuals. They lose individuality. But the cast is like big enough and diverse that, okay, I guess it's enough to make up for it. There is plot, like this kind of like political plot, and then some, I guess, like demon plot. And then on top of that, there's a whole mystery aspect with like Zenos' master, because like I said, there's the ignorance fantasy aspect where he got trained by someone super OP, and like because like to him he's nothing compared to his master, but he's like more cracked than everyone else. It's like he's like confused, but realistically, I want to know like what's up with his master. And I guess going back to the characters a bit, like character interactions are probably like the most important thing to me. I don't know, maybe it's because like we kind of see like the same stories over and over, but the characters in this show for me are all great. And like I said, depending on how the plot moves going forward, like I could see this ending on low S for me. And yeah, I guess another way to think of it, like I said, if S stuff in the S tier I'd usually like want to go read the source. And like at least right now, actually, maybe if we weren't doing reactions, I probably would have. I don't know though. We'll just keep it in A for now. Okay, next is Devouring Whale. Okay, this I'm actually gonna put this in S. This is gonna be our first S. This show has been really good. So like I said, this is only 4 episodes in because it started later, right? It's Chinese. It doesn't follow the Japanese schedule. But I don't know. I guess To Be Hero X does, but I don't know. To Be Hero X has like I guess Japanese production too, right? Like there is that like it has Japanese dub, and on top of that, Sawano is like heavily involved in the OST. Like, okay, this is like one of those cases where I said that like, sure, the story itself maybe is not super complex yet, but what it does is really fun. And as a Pokemon fan, it's basically Pokemon on steroids with like, at least based on what I know so far from watching it, less limitations. At least that's what it feels like. And like I said, there's nothing crazy in terms of storyline yet, but I'm like heavily invested in the main character's journey to like rebuild his clan. And I guess it's not isekai, what's the word, like tensai, which is like reincarnation into like the same time or same world, right? And I personally have like a super boner for these types of shows, right? Is where main character kind of goes off, trains in secret, and then comes back. And then the bonus points if they think he's dead. I mean, in this case, we didn't really like go train in secret, but it's kind of, it's along the same line. So there's just like a heavy personal bias, and like I said many times, that's what this tier list is about. And like because like a part of the appeal, right, is like when they finally come back to intersect, there'll usually be like some big reveal, and then like super like dopamine cathartic moment, right? That's basically something similar is going to go on here. The production of this has been really good. We're 4 episodes in, and if we kind of bring back up like this graph, like you could also apply this to like the production, right? A lot of times episode 1 will like debate people into having like super crazy action, super like, I don't know, Lazarus was just a whole parkour anime where the whole episode was just like, oh, it was really nicely animated, but I mean, okay, we won't get too sidetracked with that. But yeah, a lot of times they'll have like crazy animation for like episode 1, but then it'll just like hard dip. So far, there hasn't been a dip. Like we kind of had like some minor fights that even that had like good animation. And honestly, on top of that too, it's actually really funny, right? Like we had like a dog Pokemon, and it's not only like pet versus pet. There's also like the humans themselves are also fighting too. And like the dog, one of the moves was to pee on the enemy trainer, the girl. And not only that, not only is it funny, there's also, it gets pretty emotional, right? Like there was that like cat Pokemon with one of our clanmates. The backstory and like the possibility of the Pokemon dying too. Like the pets actually die in here. I don't know, like that actually hit me too. So I hope the show keeps it up, right? There's apparently a Japanese dub coming. Someone left a comment there, and hopefully that brings more people in, right? Like I said, this the plot itself isn't like super complex. It could be in the future, right? Like there's kind of like three different types of plot, at least kind of the way I look at this. I don't know if they teach this properly in some places, but it's kind of just what I figured from watching so many different types of shows, or at least a lot of shows. There's like world plot, like basically the big bad guy, right? The main villain. We'll use Naruto as an example, right? You got Kaguya and I guess Madara. They're kind of basically show up at the very end, right? So you could think of it like kind of as the same thing. And then there's like the individual the main character's plots, right? In Naruto's case, he wants to be Hokage. And here in this case, we don't know a world plot yet. We can assume there's bad guys based on like what happened in episode 1, but there is like the main character plot. Like I said, he wants to like rebuild his clan. And then it's like the arc plot. I mean, can't really talk about that right now because that always changes. But like I said, we have not gotten much about possible world plot. So that's why I'm saying it's not complex, but it could be. There's still room, right? It's not like the Naruto plot we learned about right away either. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it. I highly recommend this, especially if you like Pokemon or like type of like monster taming shows. Okay, next is our Friday show. Can a boy-girl relationship survive? I mean, short form is Danjoru. I'm gonna put this in B. This show started out really hot, but the thing is like around like episode 3, there's like a kind of a reset on the development of things, so it kind of killed the momentum. The premise of the show is like you got a girl and a boy, and they kind of have like a BFF relationship. Starts out very platonic and like seems like don't really care about romance together, at least at the start. But after 2 or 3 years, I guess at first the female lead, Himari, starts to like him, but he's getting involved with like some other girl, Rin. And she starts like supporting them at first, but then like because she starts developing feelings, she like basically cucks herself while realizing that she likes him. And then like it creates drama. Like she has like a major crash out moment, and then we kind of get some development. But then, like I said, out of nowhere, things just kind of reset. And like all of this happened in the first like 3 episodes. And I say like things reset. I know like I'm kind of using that to kind of like explain things quickly because things are slightly different now, right? But I think it's still funny. And basically like the roles have kind of reversed where now like Rin is like cooking Himari instead. And like I don't know if it was last week's episode, but like Rin went like super nuclear and said like, okay, I accept your challenge. I still want to be your BFF, but I'm also going to try and steal your man. He's like, well, when I say like things like reset, right? Like both the main characters are aware of their feelings, but like after everything that happened, I feel like there should have been more progress. But the problem is because they kind of just did all that shit like way too fast. It kind of feels like that's what's going on, right? And these types of shows, no, it's not just applicable to this. Like when you have these like long-running rom-coms of this type, one of the main complaints is like nothing really happens. And even before the show came out, like I kind of just see a lot of source readers just complaining in general. So I don't know, I'm not gonna expect much, but I hope this show ends decent. So like based on like the first couple episodes, maybe the first 3 episodes up until the reset, I would have put this in A. But hopefully if it ends high enough, maybe we can put it back there. And then maybe we'll get baited to reading the source too, because I don't know, maybe this show gets a season 2, but we'll see. Okay, next is Slime 300 season 2. Okay, honestly, I'm not sure where I want to put this. This is either going to be low B or the highest C. I'll put this here. Low B. Like I am enjoying it, but the thing is like to be a slice of life is episodic things isn't really my thing. Like we have too many characters now. That's also like another thing. We have too many characters now, and my personal favorites out of the crew have kind of been giga benched. There is Beelzebub and the 2 Leviathan sisters, Vanya and Fatla. Right, and since it's like slice of life, there's not really any plot to talk about, at least from what I've gathered. Right, like for me, the character interactions are fun. Like it is pretty fun. Like I do enjoy the episodes, but I guess like one way to think of it is like there's no plot to get invested. So like I'm like I finish each episode, I'm like that was enjoyable, but I guess am I really looking forward to the next one? It kind of has that problem where it's like it's on Saturday. Like it's been good enough for me to like keep it on the Saturday. You know, when I said there's like a bunch of shows that like the schedule is kind of just packed, and that's kind of what contributed to Lazarus getting dropped. And if you think about it, right, like if I say like 90 minutes to 2 hours for each show, we're basically sitting at like 10 hours on Saturday. I mean, that's a big investment for a channel of my size that, like, realistically, I'm not getting any money. I mean, we are a new channel, right? Like, I've been doing this for like 3 months-ish now. But I guess the whole problem is that we're kind of like spreading our resources too thin by doing like all these random seasonals that most people don't really care about, right? I don't know, overall it's fine. So yeah, we'll just leave it here. Okay, next show is A Rank Party. I'm gonna put this top of A for now. I know, like, in my Isekai tier list, I think I put this in S. I'm not sure if I regret that, kind of, or if, like, I even still stand by it. So we'll kind of count this as only as, like, the episodes from April. So, like, obviously, this is a 2-core thing. This is continuing from winter. And for a lot of people, this show fell off, but I don't think it fell off as hard, if it even fell off at all, right? Because a lot of people kind of left after the Jamie arc. And there was that, like, kind of small break where they kind of just have that recap episode. I think that might have also killed some of the momentum. Like, they had it, like, the worst part where, like, they finished just the most enjoyable arc, then they had a break, and then some people don't like the next one. But I actually enjoyed the Samultari arc. I think it was, like, good on its own. Maybe it might be, like, one episode too long, but I don't know. I still enjoyed it overall. Like, the whole twist with what happened to Simon, it was, I'm gonna say underwhelming, because like I actually think the concept of it was actually really cool. It had so much potential. Like, that whole thing could have been like just a plot for like its own story, but it kind of just got like brushed on like really quickly, and then we're just like, okay, I guess. Like, I was like so mindfucked. I'm like, wait, are they implying that Simon was the whole reason the world was ending in the first place? And then we're just like, okay, yeah, I guess. And then, like, I also have, like, a bias. I talked about this in, like, my other tier list and stuff. Like, I have a bias to, like, certain character designs and, like, fun, bright colors in the anime, right? Like, we had Nutmaster last season. Like, honestly, that show, like, should be, like, in the drop, but we kept that, like, in this, like, C tier strictly just because the designs and the characters' interactions and, like, the bright colors of shit. But, like I said, I also think, like, the storytelling is also pretty good. I mean, the character interactions here are really fun, too. And apparently the next arc that's happening right now is supposed to be really hype. So we'll see what happens there. Maybe after this arc we can justify it putting back an S. But I don't know, it's kind of fitting that A-Rank Party, where it's more like I left my A-Rank Party. But actually no, well, we kind of are A-Rank Party now. So it's fitting that a show called A-Rank Party is in A tier. Okay, next is Old Country Bumpkin Swordsmaster. Yo, I swear to God, this title's so long, but there's no short form, right? Like, every show here has like a short form. Like this is like this is like the Brilliant Healer's Life in the Shadows, but it's Yami Healer. This has Kanpekiseijo. Aparida is the short form. This even people call Slime 300 Danjoru, but this has no short form. Like, I can't freaking find anything. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna put this high B. I don't know. These two might be interchangeable. Here's the thing. This show also started off really hot. I don't really think it like fell off too much. But I want to see what's more cooking, right? Like, this is kind of one of those, like, ignorant OP stories. Main character, Beryl, he's old, that's right, this is in the title, right? He thinks he's an average swordsmaster, because he works at a dojo, he's a swordsmaster, he teaches people. But he's actually, like, giga cracked. And here's the thing, right? The way the fights have been in this show are not, like, super speed, super power, right? All his fights are, like, more technical and defensive, and, like, looking for openings. Kind of like Floyd Mayweather, right? A lot of people, you know, I'm not really into boxing, but I guess from what I've gathered is like people don't really find Floyd Mayweather that his fights that entertaining, because he's not like going to like knock out the other person. I mean, if there's a big enough gap, he does, but right? But it's more like the storyline of him like being undefeated. But I guess it's fine, because like, you know, I'm not somebody that I'm more interested in like the characters one, and then the plot two, and then like, because like I'm used to reading like light novels and manga anyways, I'm not looking for like the most high-speed action shit. And like there is supposed to be stuff cooking, right? Like in episode 1 there was that like weird stuff where the dad was talking to one of our former, I think his name is Rangers, we haven't seen him in a while, and it kind of sounds like a prophecy. I don't know, because they're like, I've been waiting for this to happen for so long or some shit, I don't know. Like he's just unaware of his power, because it seems like he barely left the countryside, so he just doesn't know. I don't know. But that's the thing, right? Like, if there's more to this story, how far can he get with just this, like, technical style? And, I don't know, his old age. Will he be able to win, like, against, like, I don't know, gods and demons doing the same shit? I don't even know if that's where we're gonna go. But, yeah, like I said, characters are great. Their interactions between, like, him and all his former students, future waifus types, Like even the interactions between themselves are pretty fun. And on top of that, like I guess the action parts, it's interesting because they are willing to use CGI for certain things. You can tell the fight's going to be cracked if it's they turn on the CGI, and the CGI it's very well done in this show. Where honestly, unless it like if you're not really paying attention, you might even like not realize it, right? But it helps with I guess the fights be more fluid. And since shit's not like going super speed anyways, I think it works out well that way. But yeah, depending on what happens with the plot moving forward, this could definitely move back into A. Like to me, this show started in this A tier, but like I think it fell off a little bit. Like it probably would have went from like here to here, right? Okay, next is OreAku. I am the evil lord of an intergalactic empire or something like that, right? Okay, I'm gonna put this in B. What do I enjoy better? Actually, out of these two, I guess these three, maybe. Actually, I'm gonna put this in the middle here. This show started out very hot too. I feel like I said that so many times. But I think that was mostly because like the backstory of the main character was actually super fucked up. Might be actually one of the most fucked up backstories I've ever seen. The dude was like super slaving away at his corporate job, not even moving up the ladder, right? Well, on top of that, his wife was cheating on home with his boss, and his daughter wasn't even his. The daughter that he was raising for like 10 years-ish. On top of that, he got framed for like some money-related problems. I think money embezzlement, like which was done by his boss. And then on top of that, he gets like illness, like a terminal sickness. I don't know if it was specifically cancer, but I don't know. That shit's like super fucked up. And then like some like, I don't know if he's like actually a god, but he calls himself the guide. He's the guy that isekai'd him. And he implied that we could like get revenge on stuff. So after you have a backstory like that, the whole idea is that, okay, in my next life, I'm just gonna be super evil as fuck. I'm not gonna give a shit about anyone else. I'm just gonna do a bunch of crazy shit. But here's the thing, like, that sounds very interesting, but it kind of feels like in 6 episodes, nothing really happened. And apparently there were some weird issues where they were doing like anime original scenes to like stretch out the content. I don't know if that was what happened. It feels like that, to be honest, but or maybe that's what's going to happen. I don't know. Apparently this is the same author as Mob Psycho, and I actually really like Mob Psycho. I was reading the novels for that, so we'll see. I know the show can cook, so or I know the author knows how to make shit cook, so this could probably move back up to A also as the plot moves forward. Okay, next is To Be Hero X. This might be the big show of the season, right? Like one of the kind of criticisms of Spring is that there's no like big names that like household names that like everyone knows about, even if you don't watch anime. Hopefully this becomes one thing. This is definitely going to be S tier. This most likely is the top of S for me. I know a lot of people say they don't really like superhero stuff. Honestly, I would say that too, but that's kind of like saying I don't like Gundam, so I can't watch any mech shows. I won't watch Code Geass or Gurren Lagann type of stuff. Like, this is actually not a typical superhero story. One, the power system here is like different. It's based on people's perception of you, right? Like, there's that whole idea with the trust value. Like, if people want you to be a hero, you will. If people don't want you to be, you won't be. So you can like lose and gain powers like instantly, right? Like a lot of the heroes, they're like live streaming what's going on, and then like we literally have that in episode like 3 or 4 with the main character of that part, Nice, where like Miss J was live streaming him, and he was like he almost got crushed by the falling giant statue, but because people were watching, they wanted him to succeed. He succeeded. And then on top of that, like when the whole friggin' thing where his past identity got revealed, and then people. At first, his trust value went down because people thought he was a fraud, but then as he became more relatable, people actually helped manifest him new powers, and he became like a new type of hero, right? So it leads to like really unexpected changes in how characters fit into the story. And like I said, right? I said Nice was like the first main character, so there is like swapping of character POVs, and to me, it keeps things fresh. And on top of that, like even though we are switching main characters, everything so far has been loosely linked, right? So it's not like it's an entirely different story. I forgot the whole character schedule, but I would imagine that at some point things start to come together, maybe. But I can see how some people are turned off by that, especially if they were like really heavily invested in Nice, and then maybe they didn't really like the whole Isol stuff. But I don't know. We got 8 more characters, so we'll see. But honestly, like this show has been really good. Like I keep lobbying for it and like telling people about it, and this kind of also applies to like what I was saying about TBATE, right? And I guess like Devouring Whale too, right? Where like these all came from outside of Japan, and they're like all really good. Well, I guess TBATE could be really good. We'll see what happens there. But if this shit gains like so much traction, then maybe we'll get even more stuff. Okay, next is Witch Watch. I'm gonna put this low A. What do I enjoy more, Kanpekiseijo or Witch Watch? Honestly, it kind of varies. I'm gonna be honest. depends on the episode. Last episode was episode 7, right? But we only want to count it. I'll put this under Kanpekiseijo for now. It's a cute, funny show that has like supernatural elements and plot in the background. But the thing is, there's a lot of moving parts, right? Like, and it feels like there's more to be introduced. So it kind of, so far, it kind of feels like slice of life. And we kind of already talked about that with like Slime 300. But the thing is, even though that's what it feels like, there are long-term goals, right? Like there's like the whole bad prophecies from Nico's mom, like Nico's impending doom. So there is that to kind of be invested in. I kind of said like when I was like watching the opening that like it feels like we'll get a bunch of supernatural stuff, but so far we haven't. So I could see this dropping to like top of B or like maybe somewhere here if the plot continues to get backseated. Like since I said we're trying to count like only episodes 1 to 6. The last episode in particular was actually really funny to me. Mainly because it's like really relatable with the whole YouTube channel shit. Like the character interactions are all fun, and on top of that, like I guess the whole crew isn't really fully together. Actually, I don't know, because we got introduced to the fourth guy in the house. Like, well, not introduced, but like feels like he's part of the cast as of last episode. But some of the recurring characters, I guess, aren't really settled in. But the characters are all fun enough that I can't see this dropping all the way down to C. Like I said, at minimum it would go to B. But also the production is like pretty good, right, for this show. They did have that like one episode where things was like wonky because it was like one person, but I don't know, like it's still like maybe a lot better than typical isekai slop that we watch. Okay, next is the unaware Atelier Meister. Do I want to put this is also a kind of a dilemma here. Do I want to put this at the bottom of B or top of C? I'm gonna put this here, bottom of B. We'll probably end up with like a bunch of shows in bottom of B. So the thing with this show is the parts that I enjoy, honestly, like if you could just extract that or keep doing that, this show might actually be A. But the parts that I don't are like, honestly, they're super ass. The strong parts with this show are like the comedy bits where like Kurt unwillingly knows his OP-ness to like kind of make something and then we're like do something and then we get everyone's funny ass reactions. This kind of falls into like the ignorance fantasy shows, right? Where like he comes from like this village of like super cracked people, but like the rest of the world is kind of just normal and he's like, he doesn't know, because not only was like, I'm kind of just assuming he was a shitter in his village, but when he got recruited and started hanging out with like normal people, they were like abusing the fuck out of him because he's like a little kid and they were like adults just exploiting him. So he just doesn't really know. The weak points of the show are like the fights. But honestly, I think the problem is the direction they're trying to go with the fights, because like I said, the best parts are like the comedic aspects. And I think if they kind of change the way they're directing the fights to make it more comedic, it could be a lot better. So like one of the whole things is like, he's like SSS rank at like everything except specifically combat abilities. So he wins his fights by like not fighting, but like using something else. Like for example, they fought like a golem, like a stone golem. It was like a mineral golem, some shit. And because he's shit at fighting, but his mining ability is like super SSS rank, right? So he uses his mining ability to fight instead and defeat the golem. But the thing is, they kind of like painted it as like a regular fight, whereas I don't know, if they kind of like made it feel more comedic, I think that would have been better. And the thing with like these ignorance fantasy type shows, I don't know what else to call it, is that I don't know how long like that can last, right? Like I don't know how like funny the gags can be of like people's reactions. I don't know how far that can carry us, right? Like a couple of seasons ago, or maybe like 3-4 seasons ago, we had 2 shows, right? Osanubi Adventurer and I Parry Everything. They're kind of like, they started off as like that whole like ignorant type show, but one of them, I think it was an Osanubi Adventure. He actually realized, right, that he actually was OP. And even though like maybe the quality of both shows were kind of the same, Osanubi Adventure did better as soon as he started realizing that he's actually OP. So I don't know. We'll see how far we can get through with this. But yeah, I guess we'll kind of just put it here for now. Okay, next is Gorilla God's Go-To Girl. I'm gonna put this in C. I'm actually questioning what do I enjoy more. I mean, TBATE, like I said, TBATE fills a lot of personal checkboxes, so I'm actually gonna put this TBATE above this. This is a decent show, but I think it's probably going to be the most forgettable thing out of all of these. Like, it is a power fantasy, right? Like, it's a weak girl gets strong blessing type show, so it's basically going from like weak to OP. But the thing is, because like she was like kind of average for her whole life, she has like no self-confidence, right? So I guess the personal the main character plot is going to be like a lot of her development in that. The show has been mostly character focused, right? There is some plot that's cooking in the background. Like, actually, at this point I don't even remember what they were talking about, because like So a lot of these shows kind of just blend in together, but like there is supposed to be like a lot of political stuff going possibly in the background, but we haven't really gotten much on it. So like I said before, characters are the most important thing to me, and like I said, I don't know, so far all the characters are okay. Like I said, shows in C tier aren't bad, but there's just levels to how I enjoy things, right? Like if something was bad, I would have dropped it. Like even if something's bad enough, I wouldn't make an exception for it, right? So it's just like yeah, I guess like looking at all of these shows, this will probably be the most forgettable one, like I said. Okay, next is Go-Go Loser Ranger Season 2. I'm gonna put this B, huh? I'll put this here, bottom. So if I did this last week, so I actually did want to do this last week because like I said, now stuff is like mostly on episode 7. I think this was the last one to hit episode 6, so technically it counts. But yeah, if I did this last week, I would have put this here. But honestly, the last episode was pretty good, so it was enough to bump it up one. For this, I really enjoyed season 1. I was actually enjoyed it enough that I was gonna go read the manga, but to be honest, it was kind of like low priority. And then they announced season 2, so I was like, okay, fuck it, I'll just wait. And then somehow we ended up starting a reaction channel in the middle of February, so I'm like, oh, okay. I guess we'll pick that up. So okay, so in my opinion, the reason why this would have been down here, down in C, was the Magadi arc. Honestly, to me, it was kind of boring. But I also did mention during the reactions that maybe I didn't appreciate properly because, like, honestly, I just kind of forgot a lot of details from like season 1. So I was like super like confused about a lot of things. And the stuff that was like really I guess engaging to me, or like for me to be invested in, was infiltrating the ranger force and hiding our identity, and then people slowly like realize it after, and then we kind of start breaking boundaries between like monsters versus humans, which is what happened in the most recent episode, right? Season 6 or episode 6. We're starting to go back into that. Like I think they are starting to like mention some like kaiju plot stuff. I don't know, we'll see how that works, but this could even move all the way up to A, depending on what goes on from here, right? I don't know, I guess talking about like the previous arc though, like the Green Ranger reveal was pretty sick. I was kind of mind fucked by that because like there's so many details I just don't remember, but honestly the Magadia himself wasn't really hype. And I don't know, like despite the fact that we had that like Green Ranger reveal, the fight itself was like whatever. On top of that, like Angel was kind of useless there. It was kind of funny, but I don't know, I would have preferred if she actually did something. She has to make up ground. Okay, 2 more shows. Okay. We got, holy shit, this recording's hella long. We got Summer Pockets. I'm actually enjoying Summer Pockets. I'm gonna put it in A. I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna put it in the middle of A. So despite that, okay, I'm saying I'm enjoying it and I'm putting it in A. And here's the thing, I usually don't like saying that I'm getting too old for things. I don't like that mentality, especially with like the way, you know, things are changing for people entering their certain age groups. But honestly, it kind of feels like that when it comes to like these visual novel type adaptations, right? I don't know, like a lot of the story and I guess a lot of the themes of that the characters like have they kind of feel like they are for teenagers. But despite that, like I said, I am really enjoying this. I do like romance stories and romance mysteries, which this basically is, right? Like we're on some island with like supernatural aspects, and there's just like a whole bunch of like weird stuff going on. And the way they handle the reveals have been really entertaining for me. And I actually like being mindfucked. Like not this week's episode, the previous week's episode. Like it actually made me think, and I like doing that. But I do have some concerns, questions moving forward. Like because how do we handle resets here, right? And are the stories going to connect, right? Because if my idea of visual novels, I never really played any, but stories don't have to connect, right? Like the whole idea is you kind of choose your own adventure, and then you make it to the end of one route, and you're just like, okay, let me go back, start the game over, and choose a different route, right? I don't know how this story is, or like even what's gonna happen. Because like we kind of like briefly met all the, well, at least the main cast at the start, right? Before kind of heavily indexing on one for their specific route. But based on like just personal preference, they kind of did the most interesting girl, Kamame, right off the bat. So I was even saying like in the middle of the reactions, like how do we top this? Like not even just top it. How do we match this? Because like I don't know, I kind of like Ao. So I don't know. I'm kind of worried like how the rest of the routes play out. But just based on the first 6 episodes, I actually enjoy this. So I'm willing to put this in A. Okay, now the last show here is Shiunji Family. Okay, now here's the thing. Okay, one way to look at this tier list, because everything here is like different genres, right? Now technically you could compare apples to oranges, right? But another way to look at this is like, okay, look at a show and compare it to its own genre on that scale, and like think how much do you enjoy it compared to that, right? Like think of like Power Fantasy Slop. How well does this do in the Power Fantasy Slop genre? How much do you enjoy this compared to like other romance mystery type shows, right? So let's say in theory, I go out specifically looking for garbage, okay? But I find something like To Be Hero X, Free Ren, right? Maybe like other S tier shows. sure, I'd be happy. I'd enjoy them. But I did not get my specific garbage satisfaction that I was looking for, right? So like, here's the thing. You go out for garbage, you're looking for garbage, you want to find garbage. This is S tier garbage, guys. Am I crazy for saying this? I don't know, man. This is like as hot as a dumpster fire as it gets. Well, like, here's the thing. I'm actually really enjoying this. That's the crazy part. And you know what? Okay, this is made by the same guy that made Rent-A-Girlfriend, okay? And yes, somehow I don't know if I'm lying to myself or it actually is just sunken cost fallacy, but like I am up to date with the Rent-A-Girlfriend manga. I do read it every Tuesday. Well, actually, no. I'm behind like 2 chapters now. I said that last week too. Actually 3 now because another one came out yesterday, but I didn't read the previous 2 weeks. But for them, like considering we're almost at like 400 chapters, I'm basically like 99% caught up, right? And here's the thing, I knew this came out, and I read the premise, and I was like, yo, this sounds stupid as fuck. I'm not gonna read this shit. But I don't know, man. Somehow, in that time between now and then, and I actually checked this out, and the crazy part is, this actually has good production. And I said we're trying to just to count, like, episodes 1 to 6, right? I think yesterday was episode 7, but honestly, it really popped off. We had like that whole tennis match, right? Even though it was just like a few minutes, maybe not even, right? Like just like maybe like a couple minutes. It still went really hard. But this is Doga Kobo, same ones that did Shikimori, Alia Hides Her Feelings in Russian, and those had pretty decent production, right? But I don't know, man. Maybe I just became like more degenerate in like the couple of years since this got released. But I don't know, man. I'm really enjoying this. The character interactions are all fun, and I guess like I said, I do like colorful anime, right? I don't know. There's also some like whole copium factor where the people that did read this, and Rent-A-Girlfriend say that this is a lot better. Like here's the thing. I don't want to get too sidetracked with shows that other shows, but I think the premise of Rent-A-Girlfriend could have been really good. If you've actually stuck out with it, everyone kind of has the same idea what the issues with it is. But from what people have said, this does a lot better. It's like Reggie has like, I think that's his name, right? The author. I think he learned from his mistakes, if you even want to say that. Because like, I don't know, based on like what I said, right? If we were not doing reactions and I saw like the first 2 episodes, I actually would be reading the manga right now. And we'll see if they take too long to announce a season 2 after this is done, I'll probably just move to that too. Right? Because I was saying before that like S tier, you know, the shows in S tier would make me want to like go to the source. And honestly, these 2 shows here, Aparida and Yami Healer, they're kind of there too. I don't know, man. I actually am kind of tempted to move this up here. It feels kind of troll though, but then again, we just put this in S. So, but that's the thing. Okay, like I'd say these are the 3 shows that honestly I'm looking forward to the most every week, the next episode. So I don't know, maybe it checks out. I don't know, are we cooked for this? Probably, right? But I don't know, that's how it is. Okay, and honestly, this recording is actually so long. Somehow these non-episode reactions, I really want them to always be like 20-30 minutes max, but somehow they just end up being like 40 plus. I don't know, the recording right now is like over an hour already. We'll see how much gets trimmed down. But okay, these are some of the shows I'm considering, right? When we did make a video about going through the spring releases and talking about what we were going to watch, and honestly I didn't get to like live up to some of those just because, like I said, kind of going to the jump from winter to spring, I feel like I picked up too many shows. But it's kind of weird that like you say doing anime reactions requires stamina, but honestly it's mostly just the whole editing process and stuff, right? Like I said, shit can take up to 2 hours, but most of the time it's like 90 minutes. But when I was going through the list, I said there's some shows that I would pick up depending how, like if there was some hype around them later on. And these are the shows that kind of like have created that. I mean, Takamin-sen, the thing for me was I wanted to make sure that this could actually go up on YouTube, and a lot of people are doing it. The problem is, I don't know, because like I didn't do this right away and I was like too overwhelmed with the schedule. I kind of just didn't pick it up. I might at some point, right? Because like it seems like even on small channels people are like actually looking for reactions for this. I don't know though, this is like so degenerate. Like even though like my style of commentary is like pretty degenerate with like stuff like even Shiunji Family, right? I feel like doing something like this will kind of just give my channel a certain vibe. But the thing is, we're probably gonna do that eventually anyway, so I don't know like what the concern is for me. Okay, the show that I'm considering the most right now is Ninja Assassin. Honestly, that's mostly kind of just what I've heard about it. Is this more slice of life too? I don't know. Apparently, it's really good though, and I don't know. I feel like I'm buying into the hype here, but we'll see. I might pick this up. This one too. This one also has had a lot of like positive feedback. Rock is a lady's modesty. I don't know. Okay, we'll sort these based on like what's the likelihood I pick it up. The premise doesn't sound the most interesting to me, to be honest, but like I have said in other videos that like these music type shows can actually be really good. There was a show that like I picked up like several years ago. This was like way before like I even knew reactions were a thing. It's called like Kono Stop That Sound. That's the English title. I forgot the instrument. Like it's like Kono Ota Tomare, something like that, right? It's basically like High School Music, but like honestly that show was actually really freaking good. So just because something doesn't sound interesting to me, like, you know, I'm very open to the fact that it actually just is like really good. So we'll see what happens with you know, if there is more hype around this. I'm not sure if it like feels like it's fallen off, but I remember like the first few episodes people were actually talking a lot about it. The other one's this Kowloon Generic Romance. This one people have also been talking well about. They're like saying good stuff. The thing is, like, I remember like going through the schedule, like the description of this like this had the most generic description too. Like, I don't know, I guess that's kind of fitting, but yeah, there wasn't anything that'd be like, okay, I gotta check this out. Here's another thing too, right? Like I don't know, if people request any of these shows, I'd be more likely to do it, even though we're like basically halfway through the season, right? Like I'd kind of like speed run some of the episodes and then try and catch up that way. I don't think any of these are on Saturday, right? Actually, it's Kowloon on Saturday? Sunday, huh? Well, I mean, since we're not on time anyways, we could just do this Monday or Tuesday instead. I don't know. And then Apocalypse Hotel, I'll probably put this in the middle. A lot of people are saying that this is like their favorite thing of the season, right? Like I see these like threads on Reddit. It's like, okay, what's your most or what's your favorite season? What's your favorite seasonal for spring? And a lot of people always bring this up, right? I actually don't even remember what this is supposed to be about. I saw this like in the Gigguk video too, but I think it was like talking about like, well, it's called Apocalypse Hotel, so something with the world ending and shit. I don't know. Like these two I'd pick up based on personal interest, and then the other three, it's just I don't mind checking out for hype, and if people actually want to see it. Anyway, since they're doing good, I'll most likely enjoy it too. I don't know, I feel like I'm like actually really easy to please. I mean, like, look at the stuff we're watching, like all this freaking isekai power fantasy romance slop. Like, I don't know, it checks out, right? Okay, actually, we didn't talk about this. We didn't talk about the C.5 chopping block tier. Okay, so essentially, nothing is on the chopping block right now. I am enjoying these all enough that, as of right now, I'm not considered dropping anything, and a lot of the stuff we're entering episode 8. So, I don't think I'm going to drop anything at this point. The whole idea is kind of similar to these three things, right? Well, since I'm enjoying these, like, none of these are in some, like, obscure genre that... it's questionable for me. These all kind of fit, like even these two shows kind of fit in the genre that I enjoy. So you don't have to worry about that reasoning. So the next reasoning would be it's getting like low engagement. If I enjoy something enough, then I don't know, stuff would have to be really bad for me to kind of do that, right? Like solo leveling, for example, in winter. I guess like too many people were reacting to solo leveling, like, and on top of that, my channel was like super brand new at the point, right, where we were like solo leveling was getting like literally single digits, right? And we were talking about these getting dropped. These were like sitting at like 20 at the time. I'll go into like more channel analytics later in a different video. I kind of wanted to make a video on that, kind of documenting, I guess, the journey of this channel. Honestly, I was supposed to do one at 2 months, but now we're basically at the 3-month mark last week. So I'll do a 3-month one. I'll try to do that tomorrow, or at least by the weekend. But yeah, there's like another thing to look at. Is not just the view count. That's public, but behind the scenes, there's another one which is like watch time, right? Like another one that's not really getting a lot of views on my channel is like Slime 300. I guess like it's kind of a more niche, like Slice of Life is kind of a niche genre to begin with, but on top of that with like this, but it seems like the people that are watching it are kind of watching it a decent amount, so, or at least like the watch time is high enough that it's high enough that like I'm willing to keep that around. But I think I'm going to be more selective in the future, I guess going like into summer, right? Because I kind of talked about it, and this, like I said, this recording is already kind of long enough. I don't want to ramble about too much random stuff, but when you're kind of doing, especially a bunch of seasonals, like you're watching too much random shit, the algorithm gets confused on like what to push out, right? Because the people that are like watching, like, To Be Heroics is kind of generic, but you think people that are watching To Be Heroics, like, there's not going to be much overlap with like A-Rank Party, Shiunji Family, right? Like, even if we started picking up some of these other shows, like the audience might overlap a little bit, but it's not going to overlap a lot. So the problem is the algorithm's going to get confused, and the video's not going to get pushed out a lot. And as the channel grows, people are going to find videos mostly through the algorithm pushing their videos to. It's not the search function. Like, it kind of, as you start, that's kind of how it's going to be, but long term, like even I can already tell, like some of the more popular series, it's mostly you can tell how people are finding your video, and YouTube search function is like in the lower end. It's mostly it says browser features. So like doing too many shows like this, and like it's in my best interest to like cut things, especially like I said, if things take like up to 2 hours. You know, I'd kind of like to say that ideally we don't drop anything, but I don't know. I feel like if you're actually going to criticize someone for that, it's because you you haven't tried making content yourself. I know we're just doing reactions, like I'm not trying to like be like pretentious or anything, but if a show takes like 2 hours, maybe even more, like I said, right, because it can like not go through the filter the first time, so it ends up being a slightly longer endeavor. Even if it's just like exporting and uploading, like technically you could do other stuff while that's happening, but it's still, you still have to commit some of that time to it, right? I'm just saying in the long term, like things might not be worth it for certain shows. There's also the idea that like, because my channel is like new and small, it's hard to get a reading on like what's an actual decent view count, right? Because like I said, I'll make a kind of a video on like, I guess the actual analytics and the progress behind that, but like once we crossed over like 100 something subs, like low 100, that's kind of when I guess the average view count started to like become lower than the sub count, right? Like, because different channels kind of perform differently, like different types of channels, right? Like even look at the bigger reactors, the ones that kind of do like anime all over the place. Like I said, audience is not always going to overlap. So just because someone has like 10k subs, they're probably going to get like only 4-digit views, like not even like, I'm talking like 8k, like a lot lower, right? And like the channels that have like 6k subs, sometimes their videos don't even or like not 6k, 6-digit subs, some of their videos don't even hit 5 digits. So I don't know, like if something's like hovering around like high 2 digits, I don't know, to me that's like still good enough, I guess. I don't know, that's just based on like kind of what I see from other channels. So but yeah, I'll talk about later. I'll talk about that way more in depth in another video. So yeah, that has been our mid-season tier list. Let's zoom out a bit. I don't know, how's this? Can people see? Yeah, right. Like I said, entirely based on my opinion, my level of enjoyment per show. If you kind of just skip to the end and you're like, why the fuck is the Shiunji Family up here? Well, I'll fucking put timestamps for you so you can listen. Like I said, there are playlists for all these shows, even the dropped ones there, if you want to watch one episode of Lazarus. And you know, I am considering these. If people actually do really want to see something, leave a comment and they'll help bump up my interest for picking up one of these. Because like I said, I do think I can handle more shows now. But also, I'll make another video on this too. I am looking for like non-seasonals to pick up. I guess we're kind of reaching that point where, kind of related to what I was saying in terms of like doing too many random ass shows. But I guess ideally you kind of look at what do people want to watch, right? And I think we're reaching a point where I think maybe doing a community poll might actually be worth it. So if you want to get in early on that, you could drop some suggestions, and then yeah, we'll vote on something probably after Bookworm is done, because I'm gonna do Dragon Maid soon, maybe even today. That was kind of on the plate, on the table from when I was starting the channel, just thinking of like stuff that I kind of already wanted to watch. Like so far we got Bookworm still going on, doing Dungeon Meshi, and then there was also Madoka that we did recently, and then Dragon Maid was kind of on there too, and on top of this, there's a movie coming out, right? So I think I don't know if we'll be on time for the movie, but hopefully around there. But yeah, we'll just cut it. My jaw hurts from talking too long. Alright, I'll catch you guys next time.